Hey everybody, it's my pleasure to be here. My name is Niall Dennehy and I'm the COO and the co-founder of AID, and I'm delighted to be here at the Cardano Summit for 2021. And I'm going to talk about a lot about some really exciting things that we've got in the pipeline. I'm going to talk about digital identity, a project that we are running called Traceability, and how we are using blockchain to bring the sustainable development goals together. So I'm looking forward to sharing more about the journey. So who are AID? Well, first of all, AID is an international award-winning company. We're backed by some pretty high-profile people. That would include Singapore Sovereign Wealth Fund Temasek. Our leadership team is made up of a lot of high-profile people from places like the World Bank, from Cambridge, the World Economic Forum, and my co-founder and good friend and CEO of AID, Joseph, happens to be the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals pioneer for blockchain technology. So that means that we're really living and breathing this in a number of different ways. We are Citibank's Tech for Integrity Game Changer of the Year. You can see from an award that we picked up recently from Madame Christine Lagarde at the IMF in Washington, D.C. We are MasterCard's Company of the Year, amongst many other different things. And at AID, we're very much committed to using blockchain to link the Sustainable Development Goals together. For anybody who's not familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals, they are 17 goals backed by 193 countries and endorsed by the United Nations. We see them as both our business and our financial compass. And what I'm going to do today during the course of the presentation is show you how we are committed to tackling these big targets, give you some tangible, concrete, and practical examples of how we're doing it, locations that we've completed this work in the past. And I'm going to talk then about how Cardano can help us to really expand and strengthen the mission of AID. So when it comes to working with the Sustainable Development Goals, one goal in particular that we are very committed to, and we share the enthusiasm that the Cardano Foundation has for that, is to bring identity to everybody around the world. So there is a target, which is 16.9, and that is to bring identity to everybody in the world by the year 2030. Believe it or not, there are over 1 billion people in the world today without any form of identity. And that means that they're legally, they're socially, and they're financially excluded from things like you and I take for granted. So if you think about it, if you are born without an identity, you're effectively unidentifiable in the digital world that we inhabit. So with the advancement of identity, with blockchain, with crypto, with technology, with self-sovereign identity, with verifiable credentials, there's both a very meaningful and unique opportunity for us to advance and to bring identity to everybody around the world in a meaningful way. And what I'm going to do then is, first of all, talk about a platform that we've developed, which is called Traceability. And what Traceability enables a donor to do is to send a donation and to transparently and efficiently see where their donation has gone to, who has received their donation, and what that looks like on a blockchain. What you see there on the right-hand side is an example then of how we've implemented this with the Red Cross, in that we used our Traceability platform on the ground globally. In particular, one project that we're really proud of is work that we've completed in India, whereby we digitized tuberculosis kits, and we were able to tell donors then where their money was going, what it was spent on, and how much of their donation was spent. And thanks to the benefits of self-sovereign identity and enabling people to control, to own, to manage their data, the individuals then who hold an identity are in complete control of that identity. So it's a very meaningful and impactful, and I would say practical solution. So I want to run you through a quick example. So if you take a donor here, Michelle is age 24. She is an informed consumer with disposable income who wants to see what is the impact of her funding and where that funding ends up, and who at the end of the chain, if you go into blockchain speak, has it helped? So with our technology, what Michelle can do is she can make a donation, number one, to a group, number two, to an appeal, or three, if she chooses to, can make a peer-to-peer donation with our platform. And what it means is that with the technology the way it has, Michelle now has unprecedented transparency. She's given a personalized dashboard to trace where her donations are being spent. She can see the breakdown of each asset. And what we've completed then with our platform and built out is a really unique way that enables people to trace how much of their donation has been spent versus how much of it is still to be spent, therefore solving a big problem. One of the really interesting things and cool things that we like about Cardano is that we've seen a number of different really innovative approaches to tackle this problem. So for example, when you look at grow pools, which is an example of people pooling their donations together, we see this as a really meaningful way to enhance what we're doing. Also, in terms of a donation, anybody who does make a donation will want to ensure that all of the donation reaches the individual. So when it comes to harnessing Cardano, what we've noticed is that you get more data for less, and that there are really innovative solutions which enable you to expand the applications and build in some programmable transparency. And another really positive that we've seen firsthand is because we have built an interoperable digital identity protocol, is that Cardano works with multiple DID standards. And it means that our protocol and our method, which we have built out ourselves, can easily and rapidly be ported and expanded onto Cardano. So what we're aiming to do is to identify the unidentified and do it at as low a cost as possible. And when it comes to identity, one of the things that's really worth pointing out is that it's all back to metadata. So when we think about the positives that we can harness when it comes to Cardano being a very metadata friendly platform, we are now able to inject the metadata and the formats that they are presented in directly into our identity and pulling them from Cardano. So it's a really, really, really cool way of solving big problems, which we know that we can. When it comes to it then, at the end of the day, it all comes back to the people. Technology is a super enabler, but it really does come back to the people. And what I want to do then is talk through a couple of really, really positive ways that we've harnessed our technology on the continent of Africa. And Africa then is the continent that we are very much committed to. We share the enthusiasm that the Cardano Foundation holds for that. And we want to be part of bringing identity to the unidentified on the continent of Africa. We have been doing this for quite a period of time. And I'm going to talk you through one example that is in line with the Sustainable Development Goals. And this in particular is Target 3.2, which is to end preventable deaths of newborns and reduce neonatal mortality. So AidTech, with our platform, we have harnessed our solution to do a few things. One is to bring identity to mothers and their babies. And we've digitized really important assets that a mother should, and we want them to receive towards the journey of their pregnancy. That can be at the prenatal stage, at the postnatal stage. And what we've been able to do with our identity is connect a mother's pregnancy journey to things that they should be getting as part of that journey, like iron tablets, like mebendazole, like folic acid, and we've managed to digitize those. And with a smart contract, we're able to send these directly at the specified time to a mother so that she can give birth to her baby. And again, this is very much in line with the Sustainable Development Goals. And what we managed to do, and we got quite a lot of publicity for this, is we happened to be part of the journey of the first baby born on the blockchain in Africa. We partnered with a really, really cool organization from the Netherlands called Farm Access. And we pieced together a really unique way of, one, giving the mother and her baby identity, two, digitizing those physical real world assets that they should receive as part of the pregnancy journey, which again is medical entitlement, things like different treatment, all put together in a smart contract. So with the recent hard fork by Cardano, this is something that we're exploring in a big way, and we believe can also have a very, very positive impact on the work that we're doing. So that was the publicity that we got, all real, all genuine, all impactful. So to give you some idea then of how our technology works, here's me in a clinic with the women who are going on that journey. And if you look to my right very carefully, what you'll see is a physical ledger on a table that was used before we came along to track what the women had received during the course of their pregnancy journey. And what we've managed to do with their buy-in and with their consent, and we've also protected their privacy, in along with that is we now enable those women to own, to control, and manage their own data in a self-sovereign fashion. They can choose to port that to any blockchain that they like. We've given them QR codes that they can access on either a plastic card, on their mobile, and effectively what they have now in their hand in whatever their format is a way to identify themselves. So they are no longer legally, socially, or financially excluded. So we have proven that we can bring identity to the unidentified. And in practice, what it means when we bring everything together and with our Trace Donate platform is that a donor now has the option to send money directly to an organization or to a recipient and have a completely traceable flow of events from end to end, and to offer a really unique insight into where their money has gone. And again, to ensure that the right monies reach the right people at the right time. And to give you some context then of what the solution looks like, here's an example then of a notification that one would get on their mobile. And what it means is that you can see where your money has been spent, by who, for what, and how much. And again, this is all with their consent. We were named the Irish Times Innovation of the Year in 2018. We got a lot of good publicity for that. We appeared in numerous international publications like the Financial Times, like Business Insider, the Wall Street Journal. And if you look carefully at the bottom right-hand corner, what you'll see is a global piece of advertising that we received, so that with a QR code, anybody anywhere in the world could make a donation to an appeal of their choice. And when their donation was spent, they got a notification real time to show them where it was spent. And again, as I mentioned, we are very much committed to Africa, as are the Cardano Foundation. We believe that blockchain is coming of age in Africa. Hence, we are really signaling our intent to collaborate, to build meaningful, positive solutions that bridge that divide. We want to put technology in place that enables people to own, control, manage their own data, their own self, their own finance. And when you bring everything together, when you look at decentralized finance, when you look at the advantages of blockchain, when you look at the advantages of Cardano, we believe that when you bring them all together, that blockchain, it is only a matter of time before it comes of age in Africa. So thank you very much for your time. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. Honored to be here. Excited to engage with the Cardano community, the foundation. And again, thanks to Jeremy, to David, to all of the team for making it happen. And look forward to taking any questions that you may have. For anybody who wants to contact me, I can be reached at niall@aid.technology. Look us up in AidTech. Our website is aid.technology on Twitter as well. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Niall. Wonderful presentation. And I think now we'd like to just kind of have a little initial thoughts on, our partnership and what it means for you to come to Cardano, and especially to continue to push out sustainable development goals.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Jeremy. One of the things that we've been doing for a long time is really ensuring that when it comes to identity, that people really do have control over their identity and that their data is self-sovereign. So when it comes to approaching this, there are a number of different layer one blockchain companies out there, but we've been quite careful then on who we would choose to partner with and have a really positive intention to collaborate, in that we believe that they have to have the same belief system as we do. I guess because of the commitment then that Cardano has to Africa and to identity in general. And when we look at the work that IOHK has done with this, it's been really well thought through. There's some really nice frameworks in place. And because there is that real interoperability component there, it means that the protocol which we've built, which is their interoperable digital identity protocol, it means that a natural extension of that then would be for it to come onto Cardano. And one of the unique things that we've seen about Cardano too is that people really are rallying around donations. One example that we can point to is our grow pools, which is something that we believe can form a really meaningful way of collecting capital, distributing capital, and again linking that back to identity. But we see that there's a real deep commitment from you guys at the foundation to bridge that divide, and you share the same sentiment as we have. So we're very enthusiastic about the possibilities that lie ahead.
Yeah, one of the questions I have for you is, now that you are continuously expanding your services across Africa and other continents, I believe that there must be now like a higher demand for transparency and traceability, as you first introduced this back in 2017.
There really is, and it's being driven by a number of different people. That can be from people on the ground to local organizations to I guess to the governments. And what we're seeing then is it's really is a groundswell. And if you look at decentralized finance, the way that's taken off in Africa, what we're seeing is that this increased demand for transparency and traceability is coming from communities of people gathering around. Oftentimes it's the younger generation, and they see that, look, when it comes to corruption, that there are meaningful ways to tackle that, whereby you can bypass institutions who, are oftentimes directly part of the problem. But that's where decentralization comes into play, and that these, let's be honest about it, old-fashioned, sometimes crooked and stodgy organizations who are part of the problem, to a certain extent, we can bypass them. And we're seeing this demand for them to be bypassed being driven by people from the ground up, developers. If you look at fintech more broadly in Africa, the amount of companies they're getting funded on the ground in places like Nigeria, Ghana, the Cote d'Ivoire, etc., and many more hubs, South Africa included, we see that there's a groundswell and a big movement, and there's a demand for people to be part of the solution as opposed to the problem. When we first ventured down there, that may not have been the case, but with the explosion in DeFi, we've seen, I guess, a parallel explosion in the demand for more transparency. And COVID-19, as much as it's been a challenge, there has been some positive things that have come out of it, and we've seen that firsthand, and that things like QR codes, can be part of the solution. And as per the what we went through in the presentation there, the fact that one can now have their identity and all of their finances linked to a simple QR code, it's been one of the inadvertent positive effects of COVID-19.
Definitely. I believe that one of the advantages for Cardano is how we are transitioning from just having secure records of information to actually integrated systems. So one of the very interesting applications with metadata is the fact that you can enable a lot of machine-to-machine communication and have authentication systems built in that is checking, directly from the blockchain itself, who has signed this information. So integrating digital identity with data sets to confirm that when you do scan this QR code, the information that received is tamper proof. And that is what we are pushing forward as a trade tech solution, and also as an aid tech solution to further develop your adoption globally and serve in these markets for not only for identity, but as true social infrastructure.
Totally. And the way we see it then is with identity. It really is, when it comes to authenticating, let's call them nodes on the network, without being too blunt, a node can equally be a machine. I'll give you one very tangible example. Back to the presentation. When we worked on the ground in Africa, one of the things that we struggled to keep track of were things that could test the blood levels of women who went to the clinics. And oftentimes then we found that it wasn't possible at times to know if a machine was functioning or not. So if you think about it and take the journey of a woman who's pregnant, if the scanner is out of order, that means that day that she might travel to the clinic, she's not able to go and take an image back to her family to show that to them. They're not able to run the appropriate checks. So we found that was there was a need to link physical machines, which is back to individual people, and for them to all work in concert to ensure that the journey was as smooth as possible. So there's very much a need to that, and it's something that we want to tackle, but it's an early stage for us, but it's definitely one of the things that we're exploring with Cardano, is linking humans with machines. And again, as you rightly pointed out, Jeremy, a QR code then is an ideal way to do it.
Right. And speaking of linking humans to machines, digital identity, as you do grow, are you utilizing just one standard, or how many industry standards are you cooperating with?
Yeah, that's a great question. And what we do is we take a couple of approaches there, but in terms of identity, we very much believe in the standards that have been set by the World Wide Web Consortium, especially around decentralized identity and verifiable credentials and the different frameworks that they operate in. So we are big believers in that framework. But on top of that, then we are developing our own protocol, which is going to launch at the end of the year, which means that we're harnessing different things like agents so that we can expand upon that. And we're able to ensure that it works with those frameworks, but anything new that should pop up, if a developer wants to take advantage of what we've built, these different agents and SDKs that we develop, that will be they'll be able to harness those at the same time as well.
Wonderful. Well, it's great to have you, in the Cardano ecosystem, and being a champion for blockchain for good and helping us drive this social impact.
We're delighted to be here and delighted to collaborate.
One of the questions I do have, Niall, is there's going to be a lot of people watching this from all over the world. We've got something like 40 different locations and events that are happening all over the place as part of the Cardano Summit. So if these folks are watching this and keen to know how they can get involved, tell us a little bit about what the next 6, 12, 18 months looks like and how they could potentially get involved.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. So we're easily contactable, as I mentioned. AID.technology is the URL. We're on Twitter with AID Technology, Facebook AID Technology Solutions. And what we're doing right now is the protocol that I mentioned, we're making that publicly available with some SDKs and APIs. It's called the Interoperable Digital Identity Protocol, and more is to come on that one. But the way we see it is we've put together a framework for establishing identity that, again, harnesses all of the best technologies and frameworks that we mentioned out there, but we're splicing that with our own special sauce, so to speak. And what we want developers and the community to come together to do is to really enhance the solutions that we're building. So, for example, Trace Donate here, which is something that we're exploring, building that on Cardano and integrating that with the different grow pools, etc. Anybody who wants to get involved in that effort, we'd love to hear from them. And it's, we believe, an ideal solution for all the reasons that we mentioned during the course of the presentation to harness that. So the community around Cardano to really scale up our efforts with Trace Donate and the efforts in Africa in general, please do reach out, and we'd love to find a way to bring it to scale and to harness all of the brain power that exists out there.
Great. Well, I'm sure they'll be in contact soon, either through ourselves or your good self. So thanks a lot for all of the information that you've brought us today. It's an incredible partnership that we're certainly excited about. As here at the Foundation, we talk about return on impact a lot. So I think this is a key part of the ecosystem, and looking forward to seeing this unfold over the next 6, 12, 18 months.
And we are too. And thank you so much.